WBCB presents Pro Wrestling Weekly,
the longest-running pro wrestling radio talk show in the history of terrestrial radio.
And he's obviously Michael Cole.
Call in with a question or comment at 215-949-3232 or 888-922-2149.
Talking wrestling.
Yeah.
Because that's what this show's about. That's what we've been doing for over 16 years.
No. It's about sports entertainment.
And now here are your hosts of Pro Wrestling Weekly, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Will you stop marking out over there?
Sorry.
Move over, kid. I'm taking your microphone.
You're shallow, you know that?
I'm running on 2 hours of sleep. I don't remember what the hell I do anymore. Shut up! There's the sound of the bell, and we are set to go. This is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, flying solo today. Well, I mean, Ted Efaw, he's in the building, getting ready for Country Roads coming up at 1. But Lucas, he is currently down at the 2300 Arena getting ready for the Wildcat Sports Wrestling event going on at the 2300 Arena later this evening. And I'm sure trying to join just about every KMA club that's down there, because that's how he do. All right, so yeah, that's about as much as I've got as far as the usual fun slinging, Mahoney busting, whatever you want to call it. It's been an interesting 24 hours to say the least, as the big news that popped up here locally and is something that has certainly had effect locally, to say the least. Some tragic news from yesterday. Former ECW wrestler Chuck Williams, better known by his ring name Rockin' Rebel, and his wife are dead following what investigators of West Goshen Township, Pennsylvania, are considering a murder-suicide. Yeah, for point of reference, that's only about an hour drive west of the station here, so this is pretty close here, to say the least. Anyway, most of the local news outlets have not mentioned Williams by name. The story had been confirmed by friends and loved ones on Reddit and Twitter. Police were called to the home just after 6:30 yesterday morning, where police say they found the bodies of a man and a woman in the living room. There were children inside the home, but the children were unharmed. There are no outstanding suspects, according to the police, and there is no danger to the public, and the investigation points to an apparent murder-suicide. A neighbor believes that they were having marital problems, and that may have had some sort of a factor into this alleged thing that is going on here regarding the investigation. Now, Rockin' Rebel, he was trained by WWE Hall of Famers Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson of the Rock and Roll Express, and hailing from the music capital of the world. He's best known for his time in the independent wrestling scene in the early 90s, competing for Combat Zone Wrestling, Delaware's 1CW, Atomic Championship Wrestling, and other promotions, and made a name for himself in Philadelphia's Eastern Championship Wrestling, the precursor to Extreme Championship Wrestling as we know it, and feuded with the likes of the Sandman. Now, the confirmation of the couple came from a few sources, including former co-host of the show way back in the very beginning, Rob Feinstein of RF Video, as well as ECW alumnus The Blue Meanie, who posted on his Facebook page, quote, "Learned of some horrible news, tragic news. I'm speechless, honestly. Rest in peace, Stephanie Burtnett. My heart breaks for her children. My thoughts go out to her family. Godspeed." Now, Williams was 52 years of age, and the incident remains under investigation. Now, the problem is, whenever you hear the words wrestling, murder, and suicide all in the same sentence, immediately people go to the whole Chris Benoit thing. And this looks like it's something completely different. I mean, according to different reports, I mean, there were sounds of gunshots, whereas there wasn't anything like that going on with the Benoit thing. I mean, this sounds like this was a spat that went very awry. This wasn't necessarily anything of roid rage or I mean, who knows? Maybe there is some CTE involved. I guess that's something that we won't know until way down the line. It's hard to say, but it's definitely a difficult situation when talking about something like this, and it's something that has, I don't think it's necessarily swept the wrestling world, but it's something that has been talked about without question, and is a little bit more of a story because it's local here in the Philadelphia area. But needless to say, regardless of what happened, what allegedly happened, I mean, the fact that a wrestler and his wife are dead, regardless of the circumstances, is certainly troubling, to say the least. We're going to go ahead and try to, I guess, brighten things up a little bit here as we're going to go to the phones. We're going to go away from here and into the Windy City with none other than Dan from Chicago. Dan, what a heck of a day to call in.
I know, right? I'm sorry for your guys' loss. That sucks. I really didn't hear too much about the guy from before, so I have to look into things when I'm done talking to you.
Yeah, as I was saying, he was in ECW before it became Extreme Championship Wrestling. So he was in during that 90 or 92, 93 area, even 94 before Shane Douglas's infamous throwing down of the belt.
Would he be on the network where I could go look, or probably YouTube?
Ooh, maybe YouTube. I don't think that that WWE's network has that early of ECW. I think a lot of what they have is from 95, 96.
Got it. Sorry, it's been a couple weeks. I'm back for a little bit, and it's been a crazy week. What I want to talk about may be a little odd, which is nothing new for me, but this transitions to Hulk Hogan and WWE and Fox. With the cancellation of Roseanne on ABC, is WWE going to be a little bit more concerned about bringing Hulk Hogan back because of this whole situation, in your opinion?
Ooh, that is an interesting question. Now, now that certainly has been very controversial, and I'm not even going to get into the Roseanne aspect of it because that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother show. That has nothing to do with us here and what was because I've seen it's been very polarizing, to say the least. So I'm gonna just ignore that and not go let's go Roseanne or Roseanne sucks. I'm not doing either of those.
No, right. But with the Hulk thing.
But that being said, I don't know if it necessarily will affect WWE's decision. I think if nothing else, if Hogan is as rehabilitated and as apologetic for what was said behind closed doors, I think that is something that they can turn a blind eye to, because the difference being is what Hogan said was behind closed doors and not just thrown out there on a public Twitter format. It's not like Hogan. It's not like Hogan in any of his tweets was tweeting out the N-word. You know, it's. So I don't think that WWE is as concerned with that. I mean, is it certainly a concern given just their overall public and corporate image, and the ink hasn't even been put to paper yet on these TV deals, so are they definitely walking on eggshells with that? And we'll get more into that in a little bit here as far as the TV deals. But there are certainly a lot of concerns on WWE's part, but I don't think it's something that's going to be make or break necessarily, given what just recently occurred with ABC and Roseanne.
Yeah, my thing with that, okay, I get what Hulk said was horrible, and what, you, at the time, well, like Roseanne said, I don't want to get into it with her, but she said she was taking something, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Hulk was going through a rough time, blah, 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 blah. He said what he said, okay, bottom line. Horrible, yes. My thing, WWE, I'm kind of still upset with it. It's 50-50 with me with this whole thing. Because Hulk warned them ahead of time and said, look, this is what's coming out. I'm sorry, but I'm just giving you guys a heads up on what's coming out. I didn't mean to say this, blah, blah, blah. And they let him go instantly, just like what they did, a couple days ago. Now, my whole thinking with this is he was not even involved with WWE at any point in time when this whole situation came about. So I don't understand why WWE was freaking out over this. Now, could there be another incident where they were trying to look for a reason to get rid of him anyway that we don't know about? I don't know, but I just don't think it was fair for Hulk to be like, okay, for WWE to be like, okay, Hulk, you're gone instantly, when Hulk was giving him a heads up. When Enzo Amore had his allegations go down and he didn't give the company a heads up, and he was still sort of employed with WWE at the time.
Well, I mean, as far as Hogan's affiliation with WWE at the time, it was more of a social ambassador.
No, he was with TNA.
Or that's right. I'm sorry, he was with TNA at that point. See, I'm getting my
Yeah.
time frames confused
Oh, yeah,
here because it was
yeah.
so long ago here.
Right.
Yeah, it's some things are ingrained in the mind, others not as much. I mean, I guess
And you get-
you're talking
and you get
about
other
depending
people
on
who
whether
just
when
look
the
at this
lawsuit broke down or when the initial comments were said. I think I was confusing the two.
And
When-
you get people like, you get other people who are in the Hall of Fame who said way worse, and they're still in the Hall of Fame, and Hulk is getting blackballed.
Well, it's, I mean, that's almost a societal thing in that, I mean, there are so many egregious acts and verbiage
Right.
from the past, even from past generations, that as they're coming to light, it's kind of, how do you, what's the appropriate punishment 40 years after the crime?
Right, right.
Or whatever the case may be, or 60 years after the crime, however long ago it was. I mean, look at what went on just earlier this year in the Fabulous Moolah and
Right,
trying to
that's
name her
correct.
with the Battle Royal with WrestleMania a couple of months ago. So just that alone, it's I guess. It's I don't think it's one of those things where you can paint with a broad brush and punish every egregious act in the same way. There's not.
Axl Rose is still getting grief from a song that he did 35 years ago, and he's even taking they're coming out with a box set, and that song's been erased as well. The song "One in a Million," he said a few things, and that got a big deal. That was a big deal back in the day too, and it still is today. And he's taking it off his issue. He's fine with with everything, and I don't understand why poor Hulk, not poor Hulk, but you know what I mean. The Hulk is still being
Raked over the coals. I got what
you know
you're
what I
saying.
mean, and I guess I'm sticking up for him, but yeah, I don't know what to say about this anymore.
Well, no, I see what you mean, and it looks like it's more so just a matter of time and just kind of letting things cool off a little bit. And
but
that's
it's not going to now with the media with the Roseanne situation.
I don't know necessarily if one directly correlates with the other. At least in my. I mean, one of the counter arguments that I'm just going to merely state facts and not give my opinion on any of this here. But one of the counter arguments that I've seen on social media regarding those who were defending Roseanne was that the comments that were made toward that particular official. That official is not black but is Iranian, and not
right.
that necessarily excuses it, but they were the commentary that was given on it was that the joke was more so about the physical looks as opposed to making a racial comment in this case.
Right.
So I mean, and I'm sure that there's three sides to every story. There's one person's side, the other person's side, and the truth, which is somewhere in the middle. And in this case, I mean, what Hogan said obviously was a bit more blatant. Mm-hmm. It's kind of one of those where, when that word that Hogan used gets involved, it's a lot more difficult to defend than what's going on here and the comments that Roseanne had made. So I don't think that the two are directly... Now, if Roseanne in her tweet had dropped the N-bomb, which I don't believe that she would even be that... I don't think she would have that lapse of judgment no matter what medication she was on. I don't think that... Then I think there may be a bit of a correlation. But the fact that they're kind of two separate things, I mean, really the only common bond between the two is the allegations and cloud of racism. Yeah. And anything outside of that, they're two completely separate issues, and I don't think that you can look at one and directly correlate it to the other.
And Axl Rose has, I guess, apologized about it as well, because his guitarist Slash is half African American as well. That was kind of, you know what I mean? It's weird how people... Go ahead.
No. I was agreeing with you. You can keep going with your point.
No, I'm good. It's been bothering me with Hulk for a while, and I understand why people are upset about what he said. Don't get me wrong, but with the whole thing with what happened, yesterday and the day before with Roseanne, I thought I'd bring this subject up, and it's just, been interesting, and it's been on my mind. Like I said, I'm very vocal about that WWE should at least taken a breath as well and been like, okay, Hulk Hogan is like him and Vince McMahon made WWF. They both of them together made WWF. Take a breath. I get that he tried to kill him and kill WWF, going to WCW. I get all that, but that's water under the bridge. They made amends. Let's just put it behind us, is what I'm trying to say.
And have Hogan making appearances and bringing out the yellow and red and bringing out Real American again and all that stuff.
Yeah, let's go back to this. I mean, what the hell,
I totally understand that, and it's as I said, it's a difficult issue to say the least. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of, and I think that's part of why WWE is just kind of taking their time on it and seeing what they want to do and not making any hasty decisions. And that I think is a little bit of it too, is they're looking before they leap, in a sense.
Right.
So there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with as the old Carpenter's adage goes, measure twice, cut once. And I think that's what they're doing here. So I don't know if it's necessarily, putting it to Hulk necessarily. It's more of, all right, we're going to weigh all of our options here before we make a decision on this, rather than to just completely keep him out and basically do to him what baseball's doing to Pete Rose. Right. Or on the other end, to just bring him back hastily and then something happens and then WWE has egg on their face. So they're just kind of playing the middle of the road right now. They're not making a committed decision as of yet.
All right, I'll let you get going. I talked about Axl Rose and Roseanne and Hulk Hogan all in the same show.
You never know what direction things are going to go around here. That is certainly for sure.
All right, man. Have a good day.
All righty. Thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate it as always. Dan from Chicago. Definitely giving some interesting points and having me walk a fine tightrope here. So we'll see whether or not I fell off here. I mean, Ted hasn't come running into the studio yet, so I think I've done all right here. But going to take care of our first time out. We'll get a look at the local scene from Ed from Northeast Philly. Some of the other things we're going to get into, bit of a story from the You Never Know Who's Watching files, speaking of things behind closed doors and whatnot. Also, we'll talk a little bit more. The brackets are out for the UK Championship Tournament for WWE. We'll let you know how that lines up. Also, a noted independent wrestler who I've even gotten the chance to work with a little bit, looks to have signed a developmental contract with WWE. We'll tell you who that is coming up. We also mentioned the TV deal and a particular former WWE star breaking their silence, and in a very colorful manner. We'll leave it at that. But first, I got to let you know that the place to get action figures, replica titles, sports memorabilia, banners, and more is at George's Cards and Collectibles. We're coming up 1 week from tomorrow. That would be Sunday, June 10th from 3 to 4:30 p.m. Former WWE star Tyson Kidd will be at George's Neshaminy Mall location, and then just 6 days later, which would be 2 weeks from today, Saturday, June 16th from 1 to 3 p.m., former Phillies and Mets baseball star Lenny Dykstra will appear at the Neshaminy Mall's Cards and Collectibles show. George's has 3 locations for all of your cards and collectibles needs. Their original store at 7755 New Falls Road in Levittown, in the Neshaminy Mall in the movie theater wing, and their newest location in the Oxford Valley Mall on the 2nd level next to Charlotte Russe. For more information, go to georgescollectibles.com and follow George's Cards and Collectibles on Facebook. Coming back with more here, this is Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Next time you head down the shore, make Keenan's Irish Pub your favorite spot. Located in the heart of North Wildwood, Keenan's Irish Pub is 25,000 square feet of wall-to-wall fun. There's live entertainment 7 days a week and an extensive menu that even features sushi. So grab an ice-cold drink, listen to some live music, and catch the Baseball Insiders as they broadcast live on Sunday before Phillies baseball. Keenan's Irish Pub, 113 Old New Jersey Avenue in North Wildwood, where all the neighborhoods still meet.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Wounded Warrior Project provides these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence at no cost for life. So now it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Join us at findwwp.org.
Hi, this is Smiling Lou Powers, here to invite you to join us every Wednesday as we broadcast Sunshine Music Memories live from the Philadelphia Protestant Home in the Northeast. We'll be playing the music that you remember in a setting you will love. Philadelphia Protestant Home is located at 6500 Tabor Road in the Northeast, and I will be there live every Wednesday, 10 a.m. till noon. Come out and listen, dance, and make some new friends. Sunshine Music Memories live from the Philadelphia Protestant Home every Wednesday at 10 a.m.
Rob's Automotive and Collision Center in Lower Bucks County is a full-service repair center with competitive prices, top-of-the-line products, and the finest auto, body, and mechanical repair technicians anywhere. Rob makes repairing your car easy. Rental cars are available and a free courtesy shuttle is provided. 2700 Veterans Highway in Bristol, 215-826-9200 in New Jersey, at 1108 Route 12 in Frenchtown, or 24-hour emergency towing. Call 215-826-0250.
He's got
man.
the Luigi death stare from Fearon, so he might have to...
I didn't give you the Luigi death stare. That's not true.
You're breaking kayfabe.
Breaking kayfabe. I'm going to break something else during this commercial.
There we go.
All
That's
right.
what I like to see.
And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your hosts, Fearon Derry and Lucas DeSangro.
Are we getting into that controversy again?
I know how it feels, and it's not fun.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you. Lucas is down at the 2300 Arena. You'll want to check out Wildcat Sports Wrestling. That's down there tonight. And, well, Lucas is probably going to be involved somehow, but I don't know if he'll necessarily be on the card. I guess it, as I said, depends on how much, how far he advances in the KMA club, I suppose. Goodness. Alrighty, where else to go with all this craziness here? Well, this is going to be interesting for coming up. I know we're just not quite a few weeks away from the official start of summer, but something for a little closer to autumn here, as NWA champion Nick Aldis stating at the Ring of Honor event in London last Saturday that the only way he would defend the NWA championship against Cody Rhodes, at the All In event is if Cody wins the Ring of Honor championship. And the NWA's Dave Lagana is playing up the title versus title possibility for that September 1st event, and he did so in a hashtag on Twitter. And it's an interesting twist, to say the least, as Cody is challenging Dalton Castle for the ROH championship at the Ring of Honor Best in the World pay-per-view coming up on Friday, June 29th in Baltimore, Maryland. So just a little under 4 weeks away from that. So we'll certainly see on that. It should be interesting. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing a title for title. It's always a huge draw, and not that the All In event isn't already a huge draw. I mean, it's the biggest independent show in a long time, if not ever. That's for sure. But you never know. All right, let's go ahead and get back to the phones here. We've got Ed from Northeast Philly who's been hanging on. Ed, welcome to Pro Wrestling Weekly.
You heard about the bad news?
Yeah, which bad news? There's a bunch of it here.
About Rocky Rebel Chuck Williams?
Yeah, that I opened the show with that. That was I spent the first 10 minutes talking about that.
I was hoping that was false, but
yeah, no, it unfortunately. Well, I mean, it was confirmed. I guess they're still going to be doing the investigations to see whether or not it was in fact a murder-suicide. But the fact that the signs are pointing to that already, I mean, you have to feel for the for the wife Stephanie and obviously for the children as well that are that just lost both of their parents.
last time I seen him was back in '06 in Phoenixville. When he did shows up there for Top Gun Wrestling or Battle.
Well, he would have been around 40 years old at that point, so that sounds pretty par for the course.
He had a wrestling training academy up in that area too.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty well known throughout the 90s, but yeah, I mean, mid-2000s, I guess he's kind of been, been kind of out of the limelight since then.
Him and Greg Matthews.
Yeah, that's right. Man. Anyway, what else you got on the local scene here?
H2O Wrestling, Hustlemania, this coming Friday in Williamstown, New Jersey, with an 8 p.m. bell time. LaFisto, Toby Klein, Bulldozer Matt Tremont, Devin Moore, and Mikey Whipwreck.
Oh, Mikey Whipwreck's going to be there. Very nice. Yeah, I haven't had the chance to check that out here, but now as I'm looking at it, yeah, okay, and Cannonball is going to be on there for the H2O Championship. Just looking at some of the other, Matt Tremont's going to be fighting on there, as you had mentioned. Okay, it's
That's next Friday, or this coming Friday.
Yep, this Friday, June 8th, and that's at 8 p.m.
8 p.m. And there's 2300 Arena has RLH coming August 25th. Coming back to the arena.
That's a little ways away, but that's certainly not a bad thing here.
Now. I think tickets are on sale for that and for a doubleheader on August 4th with Evolve and Progress.
Yes, tickets are on sale now as I'm taking a look here and looking at scheduled to appear here. They've got Dalton Castle, they've got the Briscoes, they've got Cody, SoCal Uncensored, the Young Bucks, Silas Young, Punishment Martinez, Adam Page, the Villain Marty Skrull, Jay Lethal, the Kingdom, Shane Taylor, Flip Gordon, Cheeseburger, as well as the Women of Honor. The doors open and meet and greet at 4:30, and the first match is at 6 o'clock for the international television taping.
And you mentioned Lucas is down at the arena tonight.
Yeah, he's over there now helping with setup. He's probably been there since earlier this morning, setting up the ring and getting everything, getting the arena set for the event later this evening.
I'm heading down there myself in a couple of hours.
Oh, very good. Yeah, I was gonna say I will not be able to make it as I've got something else scheduled, but he's kind of representing in this case, representing the PW brand.
Russell Pro also on the 8th in Rahway, New Jersey. Demolition, Mean Gene Oakland, and Rey Mysterio.
Oh wow, that's jam-packed on its own right there.
James Ellsworth, Madison Rain, Fala Bar.
Man, there's quite a bunch of notable names in there.
Too.
Who was on there?
Colt Cabana.
Oh, well. Get to find out how he's doing.
I haven't seen him wrestle in a couple of years.
Well, I'm sure, I mean, I would imagine that he's been traveling. I mean, maybe he hasn't been in this area in a while, but, I mean, I would imagine that he's certainly been...
For Ring of Honor. Or used to.
He's got so many things going on between his podcast and everything else. I mean... I guess it's one of those where if you don't have to and you can save your body a little bit, why not?
Tyson Kidd also is on there with Brandy Rhodes.
Yeah, the folks at WrestlePro do a really, really good job. They're just, yeah. I mean, I've gotten the chance to work with a lot of the folks from WrestlePro. As I'm looking here, including quite a few of their champions at the moment. The Beach Bums, CPA, Bobby Wayward. I'm just kind of scrolling down here. The Amazing Graysons, That's right. Beefcake came down and worked with us for a little bit. So, I mean, that's definitely a great show to check out. And oh, yeah, that's right. Sean Donovan's up there. I mean, you mentioned Falaba. That's right. The Heavenly Bodies, Gigolo Justin, and Desirable Dustin. I mean, there's just looking up and down the roster. There's a lot of great folks there. Nikos Rikos, Mario Bocora, Team España. That's right. They've come down and worked. So yeah, they're a good portion of the roster has worked with us over at the Monster Factory as well.
And TLD is in Berlin, New Jersey, for CCW next Saturday. In Tingsboro Hockey with a 2 p.m. bell time for the tournament death.
Oh man, is it that time again?
Yeah.
I mean, where seems like that it just time flies on by when it comes to those things.
And John Sante is doing something too this weekend. I think in Starling Ballroom.
Oh, okay, over in why am I drawing a blank here? Not Freehold.
Sayresville.
That's right, Sayersville. That's what I get for not crossing the river all that often.
Yeah. It used to, as of a couple of days ago, they were supposed to be at a place called the Slaughterhouse.
Well, I mean, there's a lot that certainly can change. I mean, that
True.
just
Hopefully
goes to
no
say it. But
rain.
yeah, Tanzboro Deck Hockey, 373 Tanzboro Road in Berlin. That's where it's set up here for next week. And oh, this is just popping in on my phone. An added match here for Money in the Bank that just got announced by WWE. Daniel Bryan to face Big Cass.
And that's going to be interesting.
So I'll add that here to the list here, as there were a few other changes here, but this one, literally, as I'm looking at my phone for updates here, that one popped up as well here. So sometimes you get breaking news and things like that here on the show.
And two more things. WWE's in town on July 6th and 7th, or in the Northeast area, at the Wells Fargo Center, and then New York the next night.
Oh, okay. So there you go. Chance to check out the big time a little bit there.
Owens, Zayn, Rollins, Braun Strowman, Elias, and I think Ronda Rousey and Lashley.
Ooh, there we go. If Ronda Rousey's going to be there, that's going to be a draw just on its own.
I don't know if Brock is going to be defending the title.
I wouldn't bet on it, but that's just me.
That could change.
It certainly could, but my guess is probably not. If I were a betting man, which for a lot of reasons I'm not anymore.
And Legends of the Ring next Saturday in Monroe, New Jersey. You probably have the list in front of you, man.
Well, I mean, I can get it up pretty
Long
quick
list.
here. Yeah. I mean, when with Legends of the Ring, it's always a long list of the different appearances and whatnot.
And growing.
Always. I mean, they. I mean, how many of these have they done now? I mean, just so many of them. Yeah, I think they've stopped counting at this point because of how many there are. I mean, the super ticket alone. I'm looking here. I see they've got a super ticket of Mick Foley, James Ellsworth, Tracy Smothers, Little Guido, Tommy Rich, and Harley Race, and then the afternoon super ticket of Rob Van Dam, D'Lo Brown, the Rock and Roll Express, Emma, and Summer Rae. Plus a bunch of others here, although, yeah, they've got them depicted as opposed to listed. But I can see Mean Gene Okerlund, I can see the Headbangers, the franchise Shane Douglas, just to name a few. Tony Atlas, looks like Demolition. I see Raven along here. It's
Colonel D. Beers, Bill Apner.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of names. It's interesting that they're going with the picture listing as opposed to a
Steve Regal.
Yeah, there's certainly quite a bit in there. As I said, I'm just kind of scrolling along here and almost. I see Colt Cabana's on there, Bill Apter. Oh, Falaba's going to be at it too. Okay.
Two Mexican guys, Damien 666 and Batista 666.
Oh, okay, and then Jeff Jarrett, Jerry Lawler.
5.
Yeah, there's quite a few names to say the least. So I mentioned Demolition. So definitely worth checking out next week if you can. And that's Legend of the Ring up in Monroe, New Jersey.
And that's about it.
All righty, Ed. Well, thank you so much for the look at the local scene as always.
My time limit.
You know what? It's as long as we get to the right spot at the end, then we're all right here. It just means a little more editing on my part sometimes, but I can take care of it. All right. Well, thanks for chiming in. We'll catch up with you next week. Oh, for an abbreviated show, that's a good thing for me to remember here. Next Saturday, we're only on until 12:30. Because of Phillies baseball. The Phillies are taking on the Milwaukee Brewers at 1 o'clock, 1:05 first pitch, so we're going to have Phillies on deck here at 12:30. So we'll only be on for the abbreviated half show, the 25-minute show for next week. So, yeah, I knew I'd find a way to remember these things because I'm extremely scatterbrained. But one thing that certainly isn't hard to remember, especially given what time it is, well, let me just put it this way. Today is beyond acceptable at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. That's right, today is the 3rd annual 80s party at the Broken Goblet. Bring out your nostalgia and your neon-colored jackets and bust out that sweet BMX bike for a whole day of retro fun. Also featured today is the commemorative beer release called Send Me an Angel. It's the Goblet's Raspberry Lime Radler. Get it, rad? Because rad was a term for cool or awesome or popular back in the 80s. See what they did there? There'll also be music headlined by Mike Estabrook and the BMX Bandits, as well as complimentary 80s hairstyling from Positive Image Salon. Maybe I'll have to go over there and see if they can get me set up with a Jerry curl. Also, food from the Mama Dude's food truck will be available for sale starting at 4 o'clock through 11 o'clock tonight. And also get it on draft while you can. It's the 3rd and final release of No One Likes Us, We Don't Care. The Champion IPA brewed in the spirit and with the permission of Eagles center Jason Kelsey. And note that there are no growler or crowler fills of this for contractual reasons. And also on tap, Fool's Gold, the Goblet's 3rd anniversary Belgian Golden Strong Ale, as well as classics like the Impact IPA, Angry Troll Amber, and especially the Steinbeiser's Buried Treasure Cream Ale, where a pint is just $3. Just a few reasons why it's always a good time at the Broken Goblet Brewery, 1500 Grundy's Lane in Bristol, PA. Broken Goblet Brewing, the semi-official brewery of Pro Wrestling Weekly. Please enjoy responsibly. And thank you to OSW Review for making Acceptable in the 80s a great theme for that there. So we're going to come back, talk a little bit more stuff, try to brighten our spirits here on Pro Wrestling Weekly on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's, and we're kicking off another summer of shellfish. We have seafood specials every day of the week. On Saturdays, we have the biggest crab feast you have ever seen. It's a pound of snow crab, Dungeness crab, 3 hard shells, and our own special crabby corn, and it's delicious. On Sunday, check out our new seafood sauté, clams, mussels, shrimp, lobster in our own homemade sauce. Visit chickyandpete's.com for your summer of shellfish calendar and detail.
Slipstream is back with your host, Michael Walker, talking about New Jersey's capital city, Trenton. Listen each and every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on 1490 WBCB and throughout the world at WBCB1490.com. Brought to you by Case's Pork Roll, the original Jersey ham since 1870.
All commentators heard on WBCB express their own views. Their opinions are not necessarily those of others on WBCB, including the staff and management.
You won't see termites crawling across your floor, but thousands might be devouring the wood in your walls, weakening the structure of your home. For over 50 years, Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley has been in the exterminating business. If you think you have a pest problem, they're the experts. Call them today at 215-639-5455. That's 215-639-5455 for TPPC. Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley gives your home or business peace of mind, knowing your pest problem is in their hands. Located at 1560 Bristol Pike in Bensalem, they use only EPA-approved material applied by licensed technicians. Call Termite Proofing and Pest Control of the Delaware Valley at 215-639-5455.
Real ID is coming. Are you ready? Real ID is a federal requirement that affects how all states issue driver's licenses and ID cards. After October 1, 2020, you will need a Real ID or another TSA-approved form of ID, such as a passport, to board a domestic commercial flight or enter a federal facility that requires ID. Find out how to get Real ID by visiting PennDOT.gov/RealID, paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
Pro Wrestling Weekly presents Today in Wrestling History, June 2. On this date in 1997, WCW Monday Nitro aired live from Dayton, Ohio. In the main event, Ric Flair defeated Scott Hall by disqualification. On this date in 2003, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from San Diego, California. In the main event, Randy Orton, Ric Flair, and Triple H defeated Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, and the Hurricane in a six-man tag team match. On this date in 2008, WWE Monday Night Raw aired live from Bakersfield, California. In the main event, John Cena pinned Jeff Hardy. On this date in 2013, TNA held its Slammiversary 11 pay-per-view. In the main event, Bully Ray pinned Sting in a no-holds-barred match to retain the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This has been Today in Wrestling History, June 2. Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon Derry here with you, flying solo. Twitch is down at the 2300 Arena for Wildcat Sports Wrestling that's going on tonight. He's setting up and probably kissing up as well, as he does. All right, so a few things in the news here to go over the last 10 minutes or so. First off, how you doing? That's right, former WWE wrestler Enzo Amore is now going by Real One. That's right, R-E-A-L and then the number 1. And has released a rap video called Phoenix via World Star. Yes, that World Star, which features all the fights and whatnot. And, yeah, I'm sure you've heard of World Star. It's probably better that I don't get into it. Amore noting on Twitter that the video has over 1 million views between YouTube and World Star. And he mentioned in an interview Monday that he's working with people in Hollywood on, quote, writing scripts, screenplays, directing, producing, and making music, end quote. He also said he'll be dropping a ton of content on the world. The rap video pokes fun at obsessive pro wrestling fans and takes shots at the woman who accused him of rape in Phoenix, Arizona. Now, for those who missed it, police declined to press charges against Amore in that case due to insufficient evidence. And I'd play a little audio of some of the video, but I had a little trouble finding lyrics that were safe for broadcast in the song. Most I could find is where he says, I got nothing to lose and I'm in it, and if I'm in it, then I'm in it to win it. Sky's the limit, sorry officer, got to admit it. Yeah, I'm over the limit, left Cloud 9 with a one-way ticket. And then after that, it starts getting back into the obscenities. So, yeah, that's about as good as I could do. And that's why I'm never getting into the rap game ever. One of many reasons. Although there's the money game for WWE, and it looks like it's going pretty good for them, at least as far as the TV rights deals. The deals with Fox and NBCU are chronicled in a Hollywood Reporter story. It features a breakdown of a May 17th meeting with WWE and Fox officials, including Fox patriarch Rupert Murdoch, who was involved with the meeting, along with other Fox executives, while WWE was represented by Stephanie McMahon, Paul Levesque, George Barrios, Michelle Wilson, and creative artists agencies Nick Khan and Alan Gold. And the story notes that while neither deal is finalized, the NBCU deal to keep Raw will be for $265 million a year for 5 years, while Fox will pay the previously reported $205 million per year for SmackDown. It also adds that Murdoch's told the WWE team that NBCU is, quote, embarrassed by your product, whereas his network would fully embrace WWE by advertising it across sports programming on a nightly basis and on a new weekly studio show on the FS1 cable network. The story also notes that NBCU expected to keep both shows for a 10-year, $360 million per year deal. By comparison, NBCU's current deal with WWE has both Raw and SmackDown for $130 million a year. So if NBCU got what they expected, WWE would have made about $3.6 billion over 10 years. The way it's looking now, between NBCU and Fox, the two deals are a combined $2.35 billion over 5 years, which is a little over 3.5 times the current deal. And we'll see how it goes 5 years from now, as they may go even more than that. But either way, they are the ink hasn't been put to paper yet, as I talked about earlier. But needless to say, things looking good.
It's all about the money. It's all about the money.
You are so right about that, Vince. Also, in some good news, according to SquaredCircleSirens.com, WWE reportedly signed Deonna Purrazzo to a developmental contract, which is a terrific signing by WWE. I've had the fortune of working with her at the Monster Factory on a couple of occasions. She's been all over the world at age 23. She's worked for Ring of Honor's Women of Honor. She's been all over the independent scene. She's made past appearances on WWE and Impact Wrestling Television, and she's worked for the Stardom promotion in Japan. So, huge get for WWE, and congrats to Deonna for getting that squared away. Other WWE news, WWE and Imagine Televisión, the newest national broadcast television network in Mexico, announced a new agreement yesterday to broadcast WWE's flagship programs Raw and SmackDown on free-to-air television in Mexico. We're beginning this afternoon. That station will air a weekly 1-hour version of Raw at 3 p.m., and on Saturdays a weekly 1-hour version of SmackDown at 4 p.m., so Raw and SmackDown back-to-back, both with Spanish commentary. And the agreement complements Fox Sports' broadcast of Raw and SmackDown, which will continue to air live in Mexico and the rest of Latin America. So last week we mentioned the matches were set for the WWE UK Championship Tournament, and now the brackets have been announced. And additionally, there will be a bracketology special that will air on the WWE Network this Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Some of the first-round matches that will take place at the NXT events will be part of the Download Festival from June 8th to 10th, and the remainder of the tournament will be held June 18th and 19th in London, England at the Royal Albert Hall, and the winner of the tournament will earn a shot against WWE UK champion Pete Dunne on June 19th. And I'd go over all the brackets and whatnot, but then I'd be taking away from the bracketology show, so you can check it out and we'll go from there. Oh, man. So this falls under the you never know who's watching files. A WWE executive was fired due to tweets from his wife. That's right. WWE no longer employs Sal Cieno, who was the Senior Vice President of Global Content Distribution and Business Development. Cieno was fired when the Huffington Post's Luke O'Brien did a feature on Cieno's wife, Amy Meckelberg, who started an organization called Resistance Against Islamic Radicals and runs an Islamophobic account on Twitter. WWE officials told O'Brien last week that it was the first they were hearing of Meckelberg. When O'Brien reached out the following day, WWE confirmed that Cieno was no longer with the company. The company spokesman stated, quote, "Now that it has come to our attention, Sal Cieno is no longer an employee," end quote. WWE did confirm in the story that Cieno helped negotiate the WWE television deal with the United Arab Emirates, easy for me to say. Cieno declined to comment for the story, but his wife indicated via Twitter that he was fired by the company, and the wife is now pleading with her followers to contact the Huffington Post and demand that O'Brien, the reporter, quote, "stop endangering me and my family." Additionally, the story notes that a former friend of Meckelberg stated that Meckelberg claimed the company was aware of her and wanted Cieno to keep her quiet. Careful what you put out there on social media. What can I say? It can always come back to bite you. An interesting thing, Roderick Strong is auctioning off the camouflage gear he wore at the NXT War Games event in Houston, Texas, the day before the 2017 Survivor Series. Strong signed the gear and is holding an auction to raise money in the memory of his late friend Dustin Yates Page. The link includes a photo of the gear, which includes multiple pieces and multiple autographs. The bidding runs through 11:59 p.m. Tuesday, and as of this morning, the bid was at $220. And, gotta have some fun with this here. WWE's Curt Hawkins has been lobbying to make an interesting television appearance. Last week, he tweeted out, quote, "I really want to be a guest on Sesame Street." He said, "I can help kids with dealing with defeat. It's okay as long as you keep trying. Plus, my daughter would be really impressed with me. Raw's on too late for her," end quote. Now, the reasoning behind this is that Hawkins is currently on the anti-Goldberg streak. He has 198 consecutive losses in pro wrestling matches, so that's how he'd be telling kids how to handle defeat and be able to bounce back from it. So we'll see. Might we see him down there with Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch and Cookie Monster and the rest of them? Only time will tell. Oh, goodness. Well, I think that's just about everything here. Am I missing anything along the way? We'll talk a little Money in the Bank. That's right. Some added matchups here and added stipulations. The AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura match for the WWE Championship. That's now a last man standing match coming up a couple weeks from tomorrow. Also added Bobby Lashley against Sami Zayn. The Intercontinental title is going to be on the line as Seth Rollins defends against Elias. A lot of fans are looking forward to that. Sasha Banks winning that gauntlet this past week. She is now part of the Money in the Bank ladder match for the women, taking on Ember Moon, Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Becky Lynch, Lana, Natalya, and Naomi. And Samoa Joe is added to the men's match after winning that triple threat match involving Daniel Bryan and Big Cass. So Samoa Joe will be in along with Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, The Miz, Rusev, Bobby Roode, Kevin Owens, and one of the three members of New Day. So we'll see how that goes. And just sent out via social media and the WWE app within the hour here, within the half hour actually, Daniel Bryan will be taking on Big Cass one-on-one in a rematch from a month or two ago. So there you have that, and I believe, well, we've got quite a few of them, so I think it's a good time to get into
Birthdays, you jerk.
Yeah, always getting it in. Good job there, Twitch. All right, 4 birthdays plus 5 Brucey bonuses outside the world of wrestling. A lot in the celebrity realm. On this date in 1958, Lawrence Wendell Fole was born. The former 2-time WCW World Heavyweight Champion, 5-time NWA and WCW United States Champion, former 2-time WCW World Television Champion, 3-time WCW World Tag Team Champion, and former WWF Royal Rumble winner, and featured currently on OSW Review as they're covering the Lex Express era of the World Wrestling Federation. Cheap shameless plug there. As well as former guest on the program here, better known as Lex Luger, turns 60 today. Oh, say it ain't so. Also on this date in 1977, Alan Neil Jones was born, the former 3-time NWA World Heavyweight Champion, 2-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion, 6-time TNA X Division Champion, including their first ever champion, or title holder there. Former 2-time WWE United States Champion and 2-time as well as current WWE Champion, better known as the face that runs the place, the champ that runs the camp, the phenomenal AJ Styles turns 41 today. On this date in 1981, Jamie Lynn Santzir was born, the former 2-time TNA Women's Knockout Champion and former TNA Knockouts Tag Team Champion, better known as Velvet Sky, turns 37 today. She's not old. On this date in 1988, Graham Stevely was born. The Scottish wrestler currently signed to Impact Wrestling, better known as Grado, turns 30 today. And into the Brucey bonuses with about a minute left. On this date in 1948, Gerald Patrick Mathers was born. The television, film, and stage actor better known for his role in the television sitcom Leave It to Beaver for his role as Theodore Beaver Cleaver. He turned 70 today. Ouch. And on this date in 1952, Gary Bruce Bettman was born, the polarizing longtime commissioner of the National Hockey League, holding the post for just over 25 years. He's 66 today. On this date in 1954, Dennis Haysbert was born, the film and TV actor known for those insurance commercials, no plug there, as well as portraying baseball player Pedro Serrano in the Major League film trilogy and playing David Palmer on the TV series 24. He turns 64 today. On this date in 1955, Dana Carvey was born. You know him from Saturday Night Live and playing Garth from Wayne's World. He's 63. And on this date in 1972, Wayne Brady was born. You know him from Whose Line Is It Anyway?, The Wayne Brady Show, and the current host of Let's Make a Deal. That's going to do it for me. Play us out, Nutsy.
1 o'clock and all's well.
Celebrating 60 years of broadcasting excellence. We're 1490 WBCB, Levittown.